I gotta say, whenever I sit in this chair for Colin, it's just a pinch me thing. It's a complete honor. It's a privilege. It's a little surreal. But I don't know if I've ever looked forward more to a segment than this one. Because while I've been waiting for First Things First to come back and me to join, which will be Monday, I'll be on from 5 to 6, I've just had to kind of sit on the sidelines and watch a lot of this show and a lot of things be said about Caleb Williams that I cannot believe that I'm hearing and seeing. So we're going to take some time here, and I'm going to try to level set the conversation. And yes, listen, everyone has biases. The people who admit their biases are the ones you can trust. I am a Bears guy from Chicago. Consider it disclosed. Caleb Williams was good last year. Anyone who watched every pass of every game, which I did, would tell you that he was not good enough. He was not as great as we thought he was going to be. But Caleb Williams was good. Best rookie quarterback, by the way, in Bears franchise history, which I agree, the bar is on the floor. That's an easy one to clear, but it is still true. And the situation that hand up I got wrong, I said it was the best situation a number 1 overall pick had ever walked into. I was dead wrong about that because how much of a disaster the Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron coaching situation was, and we'll get to more of that in a second. But Caleb Williams was good. He wasn't great, but people talk about Caleb Williams like it's still possible that he could be a bust. Bust is off the table. He's good. Let's start. There's the good, the bad, and the narrative. And I'll be fair. We'll start with the bad. The obvious bad, the worst of it, and there were a few, was 68 sacks. 68 sacks is an absurd number. 68 sacks is way too many. He did not fully trust what NFL Open was. He held onto the ball. He was afraid to throw interceptions, and so he would eat a sack as opposed to trusting his arm talent, trusting the route, trusting the play, did not play on schedule enough. 68 sacks is unacceptable. He will always be a higher than average sacked quarterback because of how much of a big game hunter he is, because of how mobile he is, because he has that wizardry to do the second option off-angle throws, the improvisation stuff. But 68 is obviously not sustainable. And then I think there was a legit concern, based on what I knew and people that I talked to around the team, that Caleb was trying to get by a little bit too much on just his raw natural talent and didn't have a complete understanding of what it took Monday through Saturday to be ready for Sunday. And he was young, he was a rookie, wasn't a bad guy, wasn't unprofessional, just there's an adjustment of what you need to do to get ready for a college game and what you need to do to get ready for a pro game. And that learning curve was there for Caleb. It was also certainly impacted by the coaching turnover. So I think there was professionalism, but really the sacks. 68 sacks, you can't win. The good was he survived. He was tough as hell. He played all 17 games despite being sacked 68 times. He had a 3.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, 20 touchdowns against only 6 picks. He threw for over 3,500 yards. And he dealt with, everyone talks about the bad coaching, and it was bad. They fired Shane Waldron, his play caller, 9 games into the season, and the Bears are a founding charter franchise in the NFL who had never fired a head coach in season in their history. And let me tell you, Mark Trestman deserved it. Guy kicked a field goal on 2nd down. They finally fired a coach in season because they feared a mutiny from the team because it got so bad in season last year. But that wasn't it. The offensive line situation that Caleb was dealing with, Matt Pryor, Tevin Jenkins, and Coleman Shelton all started 14-plus games. And if you're out there watching or listening being like, who are those guys? It's a totally reasonable thing for you to think. Coleman Shelton's going to start at center this year for the Rams. on maybe the worst part of their team. They're very concerned that they're not going to be able to keep Matt Stafford healthy. And Tevin Jenkins and Matt Pryor are now backups in Cleveland and Philly, respectively. And they all started 14 or more games for the Bears last year. So they were starting backups on the offensive line. They fired the coach. They fired the play caller. And again, if you watched, there were moments of undeniable upside. Like right now on FS1, we're showing highlights from the Bills game. And I heard reactions to the Bills game being like, woo, Caleb, look at the arm talent. Look at the mobility. Look at the zip on the ball. Look at the accuracy. It's like, yeah, we saw it last year. We didn't see it enough. We didn't see it consistently enough, but he was a rookie. And that's where I think the narrative piece is getting forgotten about last season. Because last season went off the rails for the Bears. More so, though, for the Bears than Caleb Williams. They lost 10 games in a row. And how they lost those games started to become so comical that, understandably, the Bears became a punchline. The Bears lost a game to Washington on a Hail Mary, and the receiver who caught the ball, his man, Tyreek Stevenson, was literally talking to the crowd when the ball was snapped. Wasn't even paying attention. That's not on Caleb. Washington ended up in the NFC Championship game. The Bears lost a game to Green Bay by 1 point on a blocked field goal, a 46-yard attempt, where they sent to the league office that the pass rush by the Packers was illegal because they hit the long snapper over the ball. Wasn't called, whatever, it happens, missed call, but like, that's a thing that happened. Lost that game by 1. They hit that 46-yard field goal as time expires. They would have swept the season series against Green Bay because they beat them at Lambeau to end the year. Green Bay was an 11-win team. Was it on Caleb Williams when they lost to Minnesota? The 14-win Minnesota Vikings, when Caleb threw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns and scored 27 points against Brian Flores' defense? Like, is that game on Caleb Williams? Because it feels like, well, it was just another loss in the midst of a 10-game losing streak. Oh, okay. He took a sack in the possession of overtime. That was not good. No doubt about it. But again, Brian Flores' defense, 14-win team, pretty good. 340 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, scored 27 points, lost in overtime to the Vikings. And then everyone remembers the Thanksgiving game against the Lions, where Matt Eberflus forgot that he's the head coach and that you're allowed to call timeouts. They're 4 yards away from field goal range, would have sent them to overtime. They've got 1 timeout. There's a sack that puts them out of field goal range. So you got to gain the 5 yards, call the timeout, kick the field goal. There was confusion. You would like Caleb to be more situationally aware in that spot. Again, a rookie. You would like your coach to help out the player. There were 32 seconds left when he got sacked. They only ran 1 play the rest of the game. It was like he was playing out there with no coaches. So I think if they win 2 of those 4 games and all of a sudden they are 7-10 instead of 5-12 with wins over the Vikings and the Commanders, in addition to their win at the end over the Packers, you're like, okay, 7-10, ups and downs, missed the playoffs, took too many sacks, coach got fired. Instead, it's, I don't know, is Caleb Williams an NFL player? They upgraded it right guard, center, left guard, coach, play caller. They used a top 10 pick on Colston Loveland, a tight end, and they used a top 40 pick on Luther Burden, a receiver, both of whom looked good in the preseason opener where the starters played against the Bills. So last year should be the floor for Caleb Williams. And by the way, everything that I've heard about Caleb from this year at camp, him and Ben Johnson, intense relationship, really taking well to hard coaching, true professional, knows 100% of what it takes, and he's working his ass off to be great. So if the floor is 3,500 passing yards and a 3.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, and he upgraded 60% of his offensive line, his head coach, his play caller, his tight end position, and his wide receiver group. Why are we surprised that he led a touchdown drive against the Bills in the preseason? It just the discourse has just gone completely insane with they're sitting him out, they're hiding him, they're afraid, they prefer Tyson Bagent. Caleb Williams is good, can still be great, and I think his ceiling is still MVP of the league and a Super Bowl champion at some point in his career. And I think people, frankly, have really lost the plot with Caleb Williams, and I look forward to seeing him build on year one in year two with Ben Johnson. Should be a very exciting season and a very exciting next decade for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Coming up next, Tom Verducci, one of the top voices in baseball. The Brewers, the best team, but not the best shot to win a World Series. We unpack how it's all happening coming up. The Herd.